Businessman with an incredibly impressive resume is in town tonight to help push for pre-K. John Pepper is one of the nation's leading advocates for early learning. Pepper is the retired CEO of Procter & Gamble and the former chairman of the board of the Walt Disney Company. In an exclusive interview with me, why Pepper says early education just makes financial sense. It's tonight's Making the Grade. So, a man with your credentials and your resume, why are you here in Idaho to talk about early learning and the importance of it?
Well, I've come to believe over a period now of more than 30 years that increasingly it's fundamental to the success of any community, the nation, and obviously every individual child. The fact is, in Cincinnati, almost 50% of children today are not ready for kindergarten. That drives me crazy. The number here in Idaho is no different. 50% of young people are not ready for kindergarten today in this state. Does that mean they're doomed? Of course not. Does it change the fact the most important thing going in their life is their parents? Of course not. It will always be so. But it does mean that we need to take steps to help all children whose parents want it be ready for kindergarten with quality early learning. And we can do it.
As a businessman who looks at the bottom line, is it best in your estimation from what you've seen to do this through taxation? Or is there a way to do some public-private partnerships? Something like that has been floated here in Idaho.
I would offer this very strong caution. Don't think it'll get just done on philanthropy. It won't. If it could, maybe that would be fine, but it won't. It's just too much involved. And yet we've got to keep the cost in perspective. It's not insignificant, but if you viewed it, and certainly I'm not advocating a reduction in our defense budget, but if you looked at the cost of providing quality pre-K for every 4-year-old in this nation, that would be equal to 1% of our current defense budget.
You've walked into a very conservative state, and a state that truly believes in making sure every penny is well spent. How do you change the voters? How do you change people out there to be willing to tax themselves for preschool?
Well, you do it by conveying to them the impact it makes on children's lives, including perhaps their own and their grandchildren and their nephews and nieces. And you make sure that they understand it's going to be well governed in terms of every dollar is going to be well spent. And you make the case that it's an investment, not a sunk cost, it's an investment. It will pay back in less grade repeating, less remediation, more income. We've developed great results to show that this is not some fancy theory over the last 10 years. Denver is an example I love to cite. They brought in quality pre-K in 2006 with a sales tax of 15 cents on every $100, as it is today. And they've seen from that point in 2006 to today that 90% of the children in the Denver school system are reading on grade.
What frustrates you the most?
That it's taking so long. I'm so frustrated that it's taking so long, and that every year we don't do it is another cohort of children who have been deprived, and the society has been deprived of the benefit that they, with their own individual ambitions and abilities, will be able to provide.
An incredibly impressive man. And you have the chance to hear much more from John Pepper. He will be speaking tomorrow night at a free event. His speech is entitled "The Business Case for Early Learning." It starts at 7 p.m. in the Jordan Ballroom at Boise State.